Harper Audio presents The Ghost Tree by Barbara Erskine, read by Vivien Helbrun. Prologue. Thomas. It is ordained that when we die and travel forward on our journey, we forget our previous lives. But sometimes they linger at the fringe of consciousness, and sometimes we are forced to remember by the curiosity of others. No man is an island, the poet said, and it is axiomatic that what some prefer to keep hidden, others wish to expose. And so one life in particular I recall now, a life like all lives filled with joy and sadness in equal measure, a life of ambition and fame, but also of concern and care for the rights and miseries of my fellow men and women, and a life blighted in part by my own foolishness, a life whose danger I bequeathed unknowing to those who came after me. We were a large family and an affectionate one, a family imbued with the Christian principles of generations, but there is still much to explore for the diligent burrower after secrets, and there is danger there, not of my making, but instilled by the intentions of others for good, also for evil. My forefathers came to me with warnings. I heard them, but I did not always heed. I now realize how great must have been their anguish as they battered upon my consciousness, and I raced on without pausing to listen. I learned, but it was hard, and it was dangerous. It is not within my power to do more than warn those who meddle with what is past. I can only speak to those who listen. I am watching over you, child of my children. But if you fail to hear my warnings or choose not to heed them, I can do nothing to save you. Chapter 1. 1760. Scampering down the steep, echoing spiral stair, the small boy dragged open the heavy door and peered out into the close. In his family's airy flat on the top floor of the tenement, it was still daylight, the south-facing windows lit by the last rays of the setting sun. Down here, where the tall grey buildings closed in to shut out the light, it was almost dark. He closed the door behind him, careful to lower the latch silently, so the clunk of metal on metal did not echo up the stone stairway. Then he skipped across the yard to the archway that led out into the high street. He knew he was forbidden to come out by himself. He knew the crowded streets were full of potential danger for a 10-year-old boy on his own. He didn't care. He was bored. His mother thought he was studying his books. His father was closeted in his study, and his brothers and sisters, all older by far than himself, were busy about their own business. Out here on the streets of Edinburgh, it was noisy, busy, and exciting. He looked this way and that, hesitating for only a moment. Then he ran out into the crowds where the din was overwhelming. Music spilled out from a tavern nearby. People were shouting. The sound of hooves echoed back and forth from the walls, as did the rattle of wheels on the rough cobbles that paved the narrow street. He headed up the hill toward St. Giles Kirk and the tempting range of shops and booths nestling against its northern walls, and was gazing longingly into the bowed window of a pie shop, when a fight broke out only feet from him. The two men shouting at each other, quickly surrounded by crowds, yelling at them, cheering them on. The quarrel grew more heated. Blows were exchanged. Then one of the men drew a dirk. Thomas barely saw what happened next, but he heard the gasp of the crowd as the blade found its mark. Saw both men hesitate, seemingly equally appalled, as the ribald comments from the onlookers died away and fell silent. And the shorter of the men slumped slowly to his knees and then forward onto his face. Thomas saw the scarlet stain spreading down the man's jacket and onto the cobbles as he fell. His face
Sample complete. Ready to continue?